Of course, not every fan agrees. Some argue that bringing Faith back would be too painful, reopening wounds that have already scarred over. Others feel her story was already complete, and that her ghost should remain a memory rather than a character. But even these voices admit one truth. Faith Fraser has never really left the story. She is still talked about, still mourned, still loved, and that is why speculation about her return is so powerful. Because Faith is not just a lost child, she is a symbol. She represents the sacrifices of love, the fragility of life, and the way loss shapes destiny. Whether she appears in flesh, in spirit, or only in the whispers of the Frasers' hearts, her presence will be felt in Season 8. The real question is not whether Faith will return. The real question is how. Will she guide? Will she warn? Will she bring peace? The fans are waiting, holding their breath for the answers. Because in the end, Faith Fraser's ghost is not just part of the story, it is part of the soul of Outlander. The story of Outlander is coming to an end, but endings are never truly final. Every love, every sacrifice, every ghost leaves its mark. And in this final chapter, one ghost rises above the rest. Faith Fraser. She was born in silence, but her presence has echoed louder than any battle or prophecy. She has haunted Claire and Jamie's hearts, and through them, she has haunted us. As Season 8 begins, the stage is set for closure, for destiny, and for truth. Will Faith return in the flicker of a candlelight, in the soft whisper of a dream, or in the shadows of the battlefield? Will she stand as a guide for her mother, a comfort for her father, or a sister finally revealed to Brianna? Perhaps her ghost is not meant to answer questions, but to remind us of what Outlander has always been about, that love does not end with death, and family is stronger than time itself. Outlander started with a ghost. It has carried us through centuries of passion and pain, and it will now close with the weight of every moment that came before. If Faith's ghost appears, it will not be a horror. It will be a blessing. The final reminder that nothing is ever truly lost. That every life, no matter how short, shapes the ones that follow. So when the final season plays out, watch closely. Listen for the silence between the words. Look for the presence that lingers in the spaces where love was once broken. Because the ghost of Faith Fraser is not just a story within the show. It is the heart of the ending we have all been waiting for. And when the credits roll for the last time, we will not only remember Claire and Jamie's love, we will remember the child who was gone too soon, the ghost who never stopped watching, and the truth she carries for us all, that love is eternal, that family never dies, and that ghosts are not a sign of fear, but of forever. Elf. The story of Outlander is more than a television series. It has become a journey we've all shared. We've loved with Claire and Jamie. We've mourned with them. And we've followed them across wars, continents, and even centuries. But now, as the end draws near, we are left with the same haunting question. Will Faith Fraser's ghost finally step into the light? This is not just a mystery for the writers to solve. It is a mystery for all of us to live through together. Faith has always been more than a character. She is the symbol of everything Outlander stands for. Love that endures, family that survives, and the truth that destiny is never finished. If she returns, even for a moment, it will not be just for Claire and Jamie. It will be for all of us who have carried her story in our hearts. And now, the journey is yours too. What do you believe? Will Faith appear in the final season as a ghostly presence guiding her family? Will she remain only in memory, a whisper in their hearts? Or will she surprise us all, taking her place in the final puzzle of the Frasers' destiny? The answers are waiting. But until they are revealed, the story belongs to us, the fans, to wonder and to dream. So tell me, what do you think? Will Faith Fraser return to the screen in Season 8? Share your thoughts, your theories, and your hopes in the comments. Let's unravel this haunting mystery together as we step into the last chapter of Outlander's journey. Because when the end comes, one truth will remain. Love does not end. Family does not fade. And sometimes, even the smallest ghost can carry the weight of the greatest story ever told. The story of Outlander has always been filled with love, heartbreak, and destiny. But in Season 8, The final chapter. One name whispers louder than ever. Faith Fraser. She was gone before she could live, yet her ghost lingers in every corner of Claire and Jamie's journey. And now, as the series draws to its end, Faith may finally step back into the story. Not in body, but as a haunting presence. The Faith Fraser's story begins long before Season 8. She was Claire and Jamie's first child, born during the darkest time of their lives in Paris. Claire's pregnancy carried hope, but it ended in heartbreak. Their baby girl Faith was stillborn, and her death left scars that never fully healed. For Claire, the pain was unbearable. She had carried Faith, dreamed of her future, and felt her move inside her. And then in one night of suffering, everything was taken away. For Jamie, locked away and powerless to help, the news crushed him too. Faith's death was not just a personal tragedy. It marked a turning point in the story of the Frasers. The loss created distance between Claire and Jamie, as grief often does. It shaped the way they approached their future, their choices, and even how they raised their later children. In truth, Faith became more than a memory. She became a shadow that followed them across time and continents, a reminder of love that never had a chance to grow. And while Outlander moved forward with wars, time travel, and new generations, the spirit of Faith was never forgotten. Fans never forgot either. In the quiet moments of the series, when Claire stares into the distance, when Jamie holds Brianna a little tighter, or when the family speaks of what they lost, the ghost of Faith lingers. She is not only a symbol of grief, but also a symbol of love too strong to die. Now, as Season 8 begins, the question rises: will Faith finally appear again? Not as a child in flesh and blood, but as something more mysterious. Could her ghost step into the story, not to reopen wounds, but to help close them? Could she guide her parents as they face the greatest trials of their lives? She could change everything. There is something haunting about unfinished stories. Faith Fraser's life ended before it truly began, but her presence has always stayed in the background of Outlander. Season 8, the final season, is the perfect stage for her ghost to return. Not as a spirit of fear, but as a thread that connects the past and the future of the Fraser family. Outlander has always been a series where time bends, where fate pulls people across centuries, and where love defies the rules of nature. Ghosts in this world are not like those in horror tales. They are not here to scare, but to remind. They are messengers, fragments of love or sorrow that cannot rest. And in this sense, Faith's ghost makes perfect sense. Her story was never complete. Claire never truly let her go. Jamie never had the chance to hold her. Even Brianna, who never met her sister, has lived in the shadow of her absence. Faith's ghost is not only believable, it is inevitable. But what would her presence mean in the final season? Imagine Claire facing the weight of all she has lost, only to feel Faith's spirit close by. Not a child's ghost crying in the night, but a gentle whisper, a presence that brings both pain and comfort. Imagine Jamie, carrying the weight of his many battles, suddenly reminded of the daughter he never saw grow. This haunting would not weaken him. It would deepen his courage, because Jamie has always fought hardest for his family. And for Brianna, Faith's ghost could be a revelation, that she is not only the daughter of two extraordinary parents, but the sister of a child who never lived, yet shaped their story. Faith's haunting is not about fear, it is about destiny, and Outlander has always been a story about destiny. Perhaps Faith is more than a ghost. Perhaps she is a guide. Perhaps she is the voice that will lead Claire and Jamie to their final chapter, the one who will make sure their love story ends as it should. If the ghost of Faith returns in the final season, her presence will not be the same for everyone. To Claire, Jamie, Brianna, and even Roger, she would mean something different, something deeply personal. Her haunting would be like a mirror, forcing each of them to confront the truths they carry, the grief they hide, and the love that binds them all. For Claire, Faith was her first child with Jamie, the baby she lost in the most painful way. Claire has carried guilt for years, blaming herself, wondering if she could have done more, even though she knows the truth was beyond her control. If Faith's ghost were to appear, it would not be as a punishment, but as a release. Imagine Claire hearing her daughter's voice, not accusing, but forgiving. The weight she has carried for decades could finally lift. For a healer who has saved so many lives, Claire's greatest wound has always been the one she could never heal: her own loss of faith. For Jamie, the pain is quieter, but no less deep. He never saw Faith's first breath, never felt her tiny hand. To Jamie, Faith has always been a memory made of absence, yet he has carried her with him, a reminder of the family he and Claire were meant to build. If Faith's ghost came to him, Jamie might find the strength to accept that even losses can be part of a legacy. The thought that his daughter's spirit has watched over them all along would not break him. It would comfort him. Jamie's journey has always been about protecting his family. Faith's presence would remind him that his love has reached even beyond death. For Brianna, Faith's ghost would be something else entirely. Brianna never knew her sister, yet she has lived in the shadow of her loss. If she were to feel Faith's presence, it could change how she sees her own place in the family. She would realize she is not just the daughter of Claire and Jamie, but the sister who carries on for both of them. Faith's spirit could be the missing piece that makes Brianna understand her destiny more fully. The weight of legacy, the importance of love, and the strength of family ties that never die. And then there is Roger, the man of faith who wrestles with science and destiny. Roger has always tried to ground the family in reason, but the ghost of Faith would challenge him. How would he explain it? How could he deny it? Perhaps for Roger, Faith's ghost would be a sign that some things cannot be explained, only accepted. For a preacher's son, this would not be a haunting of fear, but of belief, a moment where the spiritual becomes undeniable. In this way, Faith's ghost is not just one story. She is many. To each Fraser, she is a voice that speaks directly to their heart, reminding them of who they are, what they have lost, and what they still must fight for. Every ending carries a message, and Outlander has always been more than a love story. It is about the choices we make, the sacrifices we endure, and the way love stretches across time itself. In the final season, the return of Faith's ghost would not just be about grief, it would be about closure, destiny, and legacy. Faith represents something no other character can. She is both absence and presence, both sorrow and hope. Her life was cut short, but her existence changed the course of Claire and Jamie's journey forever. By bringing her ghost back in Season 8, the story can come full circle. She is the child who never grew up, but she may be the spirit who ensures her family finds peace in the end. Think back to Season 1, when Claire saw a mysterious ghost of Jamie watching her through the window. That haunting has never been fully explained, and fans have carried it with them ever since. Outlander has always used ghosts not as horror, but as symbols of destiny. Perhaps Faith is the missing answer to that riddle. Perhaps she is the link between the beginning and the end. The spirit who shows us that love and time are more connected than we can understand. In this way, Faith's ghost would not frighten. It would comfort. Her presence could remind Claire and Jamie that their love has not only survived war, betrayal, and time itself, but has created a legacy that even death cannot erase. For Brianna and Roger, her spirit could stand as proof that family is eternal, and that every sacrifice has meaning. The theme of Season 8 may very well be this: that nothing is ever truly lost. Love echoes through time, family endures beyond generations, and ghosts in the world of Outlander are not a sign of terror, but of truth. If Faith appears, she will not be there to haunt her family. She will be there to guide them to their ending. And in that ending, perhaps the Frasers and the audience will finally understand that every step, every loss, and every joy has led to this moment. The ghost of Faith Fraser may be the spirit that ties the final bow on one of the most powerful love stories ever told. The ghost of Faith Fraser is not just a story within the show. It's a story that fans have been telling themselves for years. Across forums, podcasts, and social media threads, one question keeps returning: will Faith come back in the final season? Some believe it's certain. Others argue it will only be symbolic. But no matter the theory, the fascination is undeniable. Many fans imagine Faith appearing to Claire in a dream, not as a child, but as a young woman she might have become. A vision that comforts Claire in her darkest hour, reminding her that her love and her choices gave meaning to Faith's short existence. Others believe her ghost could appear in the moments before a great sacrifice, guiding the Frasers toward safety or warning them of danger. In Outlander, time and fate have always worked in mysterious ways. Why not let Faith be part of that mystery? There are even wilder theories. Some suggest Faith's ghost is linked to the very first ghost we saw in Season 1. The figure of Jamie outside Claire's window.